your pain medication.
So much pain.
I know, but it's gonna be another 2 hours until you get your pain medication.
I'm done, please.
I'm sorry, I'll go ask the doctor, but he said no more pain medication for another 2 hours. I'm sorry.
I just want to die. Please, just let me die.
Do you hear those screams? Those are the screams of someone's loved one, maybe even your loved one. It's someone in pain, a pain that cannot be stopped. Medications no longer work for this patient. There's 504,000 patients like this that die a year of terminal illness. How can we stop the pain? As of right now, we cannot. We cannot stop their pain because the law will not allow us to. How can we stop their suffering in the future? That's what we are going to work on. We are going to write our congressmen, our senators, whoever we need to get this law on ballot. Today I'm going to talk to you about dying with dignity, also known as assisted suicide. There are 3 reasons I feel very strongly about this subject. I've had a loved one die a horrible, painful death, so this hits close to home for me. Number 1, the pain that your loved one is in leads them to suicidal thoughts. Number 2, the cost of medical bills. The cost of medical bills alone is enough to put stress on the family that is unbearable. And number 3, women's rights versus the terminally ill. Hundreds of thousands of people die every year of a terminal illness. Actually, it's around 540,000. But before they die, they are in such a tremendous amount of pain, it is unbearable. Can you even imagine for 1 minute being in the pain that they are in? Think back to the last time you had a toothache. There was nothing that you can do for that toothache until you got to the dentist. Well, these patients that are sick, there's nothing they can do even at the doctor's office. They are just going to be in pain until they die. At that point, nothing helps ease it. Now, I know the thought of losing a loved one is heart-wrenching, and definitely the thought of assisting your loved one in their demise is probably the hardest thing you're ever going to have to experience in your life. But isn't seeing your loved one in such pain and letting them live like that, that's a selfish act. So we need to start thinking about these patients on a selfless level. At least one person takes their life every day while suffering from a chronic illness. Now, shouldn't they be able to plan this, plan their death, be surrounded by loved ones, people that love them instead of feeling like they are doing something wrong by committing suicide? How horrifying that must be, the pain they are in, that they finally decide the best plan of action is to put a gun to their head and pull the trigger. In this country, we give women the rights to kill an unborn child that has no choice, but we are not giving an adult that is in severe pain, that knows what they want. They do not want to live like this any longer. They want to end the pain, the right to choose to end it themselves. In 2015, 906,000 abortions were performed, resulting in a bill of $1.2 million. I'm not saying I'm against women's rights. I'm a woman. I am all for women's rights, but I also have compassion, and I am for the terminally ill's rights too. Not only do the rights count, but the tremendous amount of medical bills that rack up is not fair. It's not fair to the patient or to the spouse of the patient to just keep accruing unnecessary bills for a patient who's going to die anyways. It is unfair, and being in a hospital almost gives the family false hope that maybe, just somehow by miracle, their loved one is going to pull through. Last year, Medicare paid $50 billion in hospital bills during the last 2 months of the patient's life. 18 to 20% of Americans spend their last days in ICU, and it is very expensive. As of right now, there are only 4 states that assisted suicide is legal. They are Oregon, which was first in 1994, followed by Washington, Vermont, and Montana. I urge you to write our Senator Rob Blum at 515 Main Street, Suite D, Cedar Falls, Iowa, 50613. Thank you. My name is Tabitha Jordan.